it's Angela with Word and Home, and welcome to day 5 of Cardboard Week. So we're starting with this cardboard bird that I cut out, a Dollar Tree heart, and a Dollar Tree bamboo cutting board. Now the first thing I'm doing is just staining that with some Waverly Antiquing Wax, and then I'm using Waverly White Wax to brush over this where I would want the brown to shine back through, because I'm going to be painting over this and I want to scrape some of that paint off. So I add the wax first, dry it, and then I go over that with my Waverly Plaster chalk paint. And then I'm just using a little scraper here to scrape off that paint from on top of that wax there. And I even sanded it a little bit with my sanding block. Now I wanted to add a little bit of crackle to this, so I'm putting some Mod Podge on here in just a few spots. And then I'm going to go back over just those spots with more of my Waverly Plaster paint. And when I dry this with my heat gun, this will give me a little bit of crackle. It's pretty subtle, but I do like how it turned out. If you wanted even more crackle, you could add a heavier layer of the Mod Podge and then the paint on top. So I'm just drying it, and then when that's all done, I'm going to add some wax, some dark brown. This is Behr wax on top. And when I add this, you'll notice you can really start to see that crackle pop. It really settles in all those cracks and crevices and really makes all of that distress pop. So here I've taken that cardboard bird and I've exposed a little bit of the corrugation. I painted it moss green by Waverly, and then here I stained that little heart with that same Waverly wax, and I just glued that on, and I did add a little black dot for the eye. Now I want it to look like it's sitting on a nest, so I'm going to glue my bird on there, and then I'm just going to glue a little bit of Spanish moss underneath to make it look like a bird nest under. Very, very simple here. You could put as little or as much of that moss as you would like. Now the last thing to do is I'm going to add a bow on top. So I just have some strips of material here. I folded them in half, and then I'm tying them up with some jute string. And then I'll use my scissors to cut those loops on one end, and we'll just have a nice little kind of a shabby bow here. And the last thing I wanted to do was I just had a cardboard tag, and I painted that cardboard tag with some of that same plaster paint. And then I distressed it with my wax, and then I just stamped spring on there. And then I'm going to tie this around my bow. Now this little project turned out I think a little more primitive than I thought, but I really do like the way that it turned out. I hope that you've enjoyed all of the projects this week for Cardboard Week. I'd love to know if you have a favorite. Just drop that in the comments. And be sure that you're following along with Word and Home on Facebook. And be sure to check out wordandhome.com for more ideas like these.